Breaking news tonight, a deadly mudslide disaster slamming Southern California. Homes suddenly swept away by raging floodwaters with people trapped inside. Our cameras are there for the incredible moment. Firefighters pull a 14-year-old girl out alive. The urgent search underway tonight for more survivors. More breaking news. Steve Bannon is out at Breitbart. A powerful player's shocking fall after opening his mouth about the Trumps. Could this clash of the Titans actually happen? Gayle King says Oprah is intrigued as President Trump declares he would beat her. Outrage over the video of a teacher being handcuffed and removed from a school board meeting after asking the superintendent about salaries. And NBC News investigates birth tourism. Russian women coming to America to have babies, now U.S. citizens. It's controversial, it's legal, and wait till you see where many of them are living while awaiting birth.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening and welcome to our viewers in the West, which is where we start tonight. First fire and now rain and mudslides taking a deadly toll in Southern California tonight, striking communities that have seen far too much misery in recent weeks. At least 8 people have died as homes have been swept away near Santa Barbara.
Good.
But there have been dramatic rescues, too. A teenage girl freed from a prison of mud that trapped her beneath a house. With vegetation burned away in recent fires and nothing to hold back rain-soaked hillsides, the mud simply pouring through neighborhoods and even across a major highway. Our Miguel Almaguer is in Montecito tonight with the latest.
I got it. This is the life and death struggle playing out tonight. Rescue teams in Santa Barbara County carving deep into a mangled mess, a home buried under mud to reach a 14-year-old trapped inside.
Hey, coming out.
Using the jaws of life, they reach her. She's been alone for 6 hours. Lauren Canty plucked from the rising mud and debris.
I told my friends my phone got wrecked.
A miracle rescue just in time.
It was so hard to hear her. You know, we could have very easily just taken 2 more steps and we wouldn't have been able to hear her at all.
We got a mudslide right now.
It happens so fast. Rivers of mud pouring into communities, hills crumbling, dozens reported missing. All day long, daring rescue efforts. Wading through thigh-high mud with search dogs, first responders are desperate to find survivors. While checking on their neighbors, the Johnsons heard a cry.
Found a little baby. I don't know where it came from. We got it out, got the mud out of its mouth. I'm hoping it's okay.
Rescue helicopters hoisting more than 50 to safety, where ambulances couldn't get in.
I went to step out and the mud came all the way up to my knees.
30 miles of Highway 101 shut down near Santa Barbara. Some first responders needed rescue themselves. Thousands ordered to evacuate in the hills that just weeks ago burned. The largest inferno in state history obliterated more than 1,000 homes. Where there was fire, there's now floods and mud.
Tonight, this is what Highway 101 looks like, a complete disaster. Just down the road from here, big rigs are stuck in 5 feet of mud. So much of it came from these mountains here behind me, blasting right through homes, destroying this K-rail. At least 13 people are dead, another 25 are injured. There is some good news. That 14-year-old girl we introduced you to earlier tonight is in the hospital recovering. Lester?
That's great to hear, Miguel. Amazing and hard to believe we were watching those same areas burn just a short time ago. Thanks. Now to that breaking news on the sudden and stunning fall for a man who helped elect a president and held one of the most powerful positions in the White House. Steve Bannon, out of a job at Breitbart barely a week since he left, jaws dropping with comments about the Trump family in that bombshell new book, Fire and Fury. We get late details now from our chief White House correspondent, Hallie Jackson.
We're going to win.
Tonight, a Breitbart bombshell for Steve Bannon, stepping down less than 48 hours after trying to defuse his verbal grenades, published in a new tell-all book. His explosive comments slamming the president's son and son-in-law, igniting a furious response from donors and from his former boss, the president himself, nicknaming him Sloppy Steve.
Should Breitbart part ways with Steve Bannon after the comments in these books?
I certainly think that it's something they should look at and consider.
Bannon, who left the White House in a sudden shakeup this summer and resumed his role as Breitbart's executive chairman, now says in a statement he's proud of what the Breitbart team has accomplished in so short a period of time in building out a world-class news platform. It's a controversial platform, too, with Bannon, the lightning rod, telling 60 Minutes,
I'm a street fighter. That's what I am.
An ally of the conservative base that supported Donald Trump, he's also an enemy of establishment Republicans, who were nearly gleeful after his fall from grace in the eyes of the president and in the eyes of some conservatives who did not back Bannon's preferred pick in the Alabama Senate race.
He has presided over the freak show wing of the Republican Party. And that legacy of his is one that will continue forward.
Bannon, self-styled as a shadowy mastermind, keeper of the nationalist flame, with a source close to him telling NBC News tonight he's ready to move more into politics post-Breitbart. Hallie Jackson, NBC News, the White House.
Something we don't see quite often at the White House. It happened today as President Trump led cameras into the cabinet room for bipartisan talks on a hot-button issue, extending protections for dreamers, undocumented immigrants brought to the U.S. as children. The president vowing to sign a deal if Congress can strike one. NBC's Peter Alexander has more.
People that they don't want.
Inside the West Wing.
If you don't have the wall, you cannot have security.
For nearly an hour.
You have created an opportunity here, Mr. President, and you need to close the deal.
A remarkable televised negotiating session.
What about a clean DACA bill now?
We don't want to be back here 2 years later. You have to have security.
President Trump seemingly taking nearly every contradictory position he's ever had on immigration, even appearing ready to give Democrats exactly what they want, a bill to protect nearly 800,000 young undocumented immigrants, so-called dreamers with no strings attached.
This should be a bipartisan bill. This should be a bill of love. Truly, it should be a bill of love.
The president even outlining a political approach that could include a path to citizenship that many of his hardline supporters fiercely oppose.
You're not so far away from comprehensive immigration reform. And if you want to take it that further step, I'll take the heat. I don't care.
No deal, but apparent agreement over the topics now up for negotiation. Funding border security, including at least some form of the wall that the president made a signature of his campaign, ending family-based chain migration, canceling the visa lottery, and resolving DACA. With a deadline fast approaching for dreamers like Jesus Contreras, a paramedic from Houston brought here by his mom when he was 6. What's it feel like to be in limbo?
It feels like, honestly, I have an expiration date on my forehead, you know, that my time here is about to expire.
What does the president say to young men like 24-year-old Jesus Contreras?
He says exactly what he just did in that room. Let's work together. Let's figure this out.
By the end of that session today, the president suggested he'll sign whatever deal shows up on his desk, insisting it's up to lawmakers to work out the details. But to be clear, even after the meeting, the two sides don't seem to be any closer to finding a solution. Lester?
Peter Alexander at the White House, thank you. There are new developments tonight in the speculation swirling around Oprah. Her best friend, journalist Gayle King, says Oprah is intrigued by the idea of running for president. And President Trump had some thoughts of his own on the subject today. NBC's Kristen Dahlgren, who asked Oprah herself about a potential presidential run in a recent interview, has the latest on a possible 2020 clash brewing.
Even the president talking Oprah 2020 today.
Yeah, I'll beat Oprah. Oprah would be a lot of fun.
Heaping high praise for his time on Oprah's iconic talk show.
It's very nice. No, I like Oprah. I don't think she's going to run.
Will she or won't she? The question on many minds after a rousing speech at Sunday's Golden Globes.
A new day is on the horizon.
Ivanka Trump even tweeting about Oprah's empowering and inspiring speech. Let's all come together. Time's up. Many on Twitter quick to criticize the first daughter, pointing out accusations of sexual misconduct against her father that the president flatly denies. The White House saying the administration is focused on bringing people together.
Where she stands on a number of positions, I would find a lot of problems with that.
Today, longtime best friend Gayle King saying Oprah has no plans to run, as of now.
I do think she's intrigued by the idea. I do think that. I also know that after years of watching the Oprah show, you always have the right to change your mind.
It's a sentiment Oprah echoed when we sat down last April.
What
would it take for Oprah 2020?
What would it take?
It would have to take another lifetime for me to wake up in somebody else's body.
But when I pointed to some positive poll numbers...
That's good to know. I won't say you never know, okay?
An idea intriguing many and proving Oprah can still get anyone talking. Kristen Dahlgren, NBC News, New York.
Let's turn now to an NBC News investigation into so-called birth tourism. Women from foreign countries coming to the U.S. to give birth so their children can be American citizens. In Florida alone, foreign births have skyrocketed nearly 90% in the past decade. Many of the women are Russians, and you may be surprised to learn where some of them are staying. We get the story from NBC senior investigative correspondent Cynthia McFadden.
These Russian women all came to Miami to give birth. As a result, their babies are American citizens. That's right, Russian mothers, American babies.
I'm such type of mom who want to give her child the best what I can do.
And the best is an American passport. To give birth in Miami, a status symbol back in Russia. While the practice is controversial, it's perfectly legal. The 14th Amendment to the Constitution makes anyone born on American soil an American citizen.
If American citizen, American passport is a big plus for the baby, why not?
Among the pluses, these kids will have the right to live and work here, receive social services, and when they turn 21, they'll have the right to sponsor their parents for an American green card.
We're the only place just about that's stupid enough to do it.
As a candidate, Donald Trump called for an end to birthright citizenship, declaring it the biggest magnet for illegal immigration.
You want to get rid of birthright citizenship?
You have to get rid of, yes, you have to. What they're doing, they're having a baby, and all of a sudden nobody knows. The baby's here. You have no choice.
But ironically, condo buildings bearing the name Trump are among the most popular for Russian birth tourists.
I live in Trump Palace. It's a very popular place.
And housing in buildings with the Trump name are advertised by birth tourism agencies catering to Russian clients. Some packages, including medical care, cost over $100,000 for a several-month stay. In Moscow, we found an agency openly advertising American citizenship. It's called Miami Mama. The company estimates they bring around 100 Russians here every year.
Do you advise your clients to be completely transparent with U.S. officials when they're applying for a visa to come?
Absolutely.
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 To say, I'm pregnant?
Yes. Yes.
We tell every client, you have the documents, you have to tell the truth. This is America. They like the truth here.
There are some Americans who think that it's not right for Russians to come to America, have their babies, and have the babies become Americans.
I understand them, but I'm not going to take something from America. If I can spend my money, why not?
There is no indication that President Trump or the Trump Organization is directly profiting from this birth tourism. We've reached out to the White House and the company to ask. So far, no word back. Lester?
All right, Cynthia, thank you very much. Overseas, a breakthrough in the first high-level talks between North and South Korea in over 2 years. The North agreeing to send a delegation of athletes and officials to the Olympic Games in South Korea, which begin a month from tonight. We get details from NBC's Bill Neely.
Kim Jong-un's men walking towards their enemy across the most dangerous border in the world to a remarkable moment, a handshake with South Korean officials and with history. A meeting unthinkable weeks ago, hours of talks, and at the end, agreement. North Korea will send a large team to next month's Olympics in South Korea. The two sides have re-established a second hotline for the military. And amid missile launches and nuclear tests, they've agreed military talks to reduce tension. Proof, says an advisor to South Korea's leader, that President Trump's tough talk works.
President Trump is absolutely right. American pressure yielded some positive outcome.
The talks beyond this checkpoint may have started successfully, but they've a long way to go from figure skating to tough talk about nuclear missiles or anything else. South Korea today called on the North to get rid of its nuclear weapons. Kim Jong-un's man didn't respond, but later said its nuclear weapons are aimed at the US, not at South Korea. Kim says a former South Korean foreign minister is trying to split America from its ally.
We should never trust him, but that doesn't mean that we don't deal with him.
So today's breakthrough is real, but it's limited because the big test is what happens to these talks after the Olympics. And as North Korean officials have made clear to me over the past 2 years, they will not negotiate away their nuclear program. Lester?
Bill Neely in Seoul, thank you. Still ahead, caught on camera, dramatic video of a teacher handcuffed on the floor after she spoke out at a school board meeting. We'll have the growing outrage over the takedown. We're back now with a scene caught on camera that sparked a fury of outrage. A teacher put in handcuffs and forcibly removed from a school board meeting after getting up and asking the superintendent a question about salaries. NBC's Tammy Leitner has the tape and the swift reaction.
This is the shocking moment when a Louisiana middle school teacher was removed from a school board meeting in handcuffs.
Hold on! I am way smaller than you!
Earlier in the evening, Daisha Hargrave questioned the superintendent's $38,000 raise when teachers hadn't seen a pay increase in nearly a decade.
I feel like it's a slap in the face to all the teachers, cafeteria workers, and any other support staff we have.
But she was cut off.
Stop
right now. Ruled out of order by the school board president, saying the session wasn't meant for questions. A city marshal soon intervenes.
You're going to leave, I'm going to remove you. Do not.
Several audience members start recording as the visibly shaken teacher is escorted out of the room.
Just put her in handcuffs.
Off camera, Hargrave ends up on the ground in cuffs.
Do you feel safer, officer, that I have handcuffs on? What do you think was going to happen?
Hargrave was booked into the city jail on resisting an officer and remaining while forbidden. NBC News has reached out to the school district as well as the superintendent and the board president, but did not get a response. No charges will be filed. Board member Kibby Paulette spoke to us over Skype.
Why would they arrest her? She didn't disturb the meeting.
Tonight, Hargrave likely has more questions about how she was treated. Tammy Leitner, NBC News.
Still to come tonight, the emotional surprise for a girl who hadn't seen her soldier dad in nearly a year. You don't want to miss this one. This moment really warmed our hearts today. A 7-year-old girl getting a big surprise when her father, a Lieutenant Colonel Army reservist who's been deployed to the Middle East for nearly a year, suddenly appeared and gave her the hug they have both waited so long for. She was caught off guard because Dad's homecoming wasn't expected for a few more weeks. What a great sight. If you're an online shopper, it probably comes as no surprise to hear that Amazon dominated online spending during the holidays. But the numbers are purely staggering. According to Bloomberg, retail experts say the company accounted for 89% of online spending from Thanksgiving through Christmas. And a spectacular look like you've never seen before at the largest planet in our solar system. NASA's Juno spacecraft has sent back these new up-close, color-enhanced images of the swirling clouds over Jupiter's surface. The billion-dollar probe takes new photos of Jupiter about every 53 days and travels at over 130,000 miles an hour. We appreciate you spending part of your evening with us. That is Nightly News for this Tuesday night. Have a good night, everybody, and thanks for watching.